Right. Hello, Marcus. Thank you for joining us today to talk about Fresh Fire Weekend. So first thing I want to ask is, what inspired you to start the event, to help organize it down in Stockton?
Well, for me, my involvement and investment from Fresh Fire came in early January. I was actually invited to be one of the speakers at an event that they had in Bristol, California. And I went to the event, I spoke at the event. It was a phenomenal event. And for me, just being able to see that there was a different way of ministry, there was a different way that they were evangelizing, a different way of people actually being reached, as well as the audience, the variety of people that was in the room, from business owners to, people who needed to hear something, they were down on their last wish. And leaving there and the connections I've been making since then, and really leaving with, no pun intended, a fresh fire, right? A fresh fire, and having that vision and saying, you know what? We need something like this in California. We need something like this in California. Not only that, like, I believe in my brother's vision, and he needs to be out here. He needs to see how big his vision can become, just as bad as we need to have something like this here in California.
That's excellent. So could you share with me a little bit more? What vision, what would that look like in reality? Could you share a little more?
Let me let me not chop down his vision. The thing is, the founder of Fresh Fire, Stephen Mumpower, I mean, he has an amazing vision and a large vision to be able to take this Fresh Fire ministry, throughout the United States, throughout the world, and to be able to impact people, even to be able to start planning places to where these events can continue, these events can keep going, these events can keep having doors where people can come in, again, from any kind of walk of life, whether you're just hurting, whether you're a business owner, whether you're in a great place or whether you're in a terrible place, and be inspired and be fueled, and have a place to not only fellowship, but a place to pour from your cup and have your cup filled as well. And his vision for it, is pretty big. We've had talks, and some people may think it's crazy, and some people may not, of being able to hopefully one day have a plane to be able to go different places and travel. And my heart that really, really is close to that kind of vision is I have a passion for missionary work. So when I think about hopping on a plane and going to another country, when I think about being able to go different places where there are people who need to hear, you know what, there is a God and God loves you. Like it fuels something different inside of me. It really creates something inside of me. And his vision is to be able to bring this ministry everywhere.
Wow, it's really cool. So one of the questions I guess that comes to mind is, you mentioned you've already been a speaker over in Bristol, California. What inspired you to want to come back again, to be involved again and again? What is it? What is the part that brings you back?
Actually, it was Bristol, Tennessee. So Bristol, Tennessee was the first event, and my inspiration behind it is, I'm a person, if you truly know me, my biggest motivation in life is people. When I get on lives, or when I introduce myself, I say that I am a leader who is driven towards helping people define what success is to them and helping them obtain it. Because success to everybody looks different. And when I see the heart, of Stephen, when I see the heart that he has for wanting to help people, I've witnessed firsthand him serving people, going out his way. I've heard testimonies of things. That is something that drives me, wanting to serve people, wanting to help people. The thing about, Fresh Fire, like there's a difference sometimes when you're one of the speakers and you're coming out and speaking and you don't know who you're impacting, or you don't even know sometimes, like why am I even here? Or like how did I end up having the privilege of being one of the speakers when there's some pretty phenomenal speakers. And when I went to Bristol, there was a motivational speaker who he's pretty well known. He's had Inky Johnson, he's had Jesse Lee Ward, Ed Milet, a bunch of people on his podcasts. And he was the opening speaker and he was the closing speaker. And you have those thoughts of like, man, like, how did I end up here again? Like, there's these kind of speakers speaking, people of this caliber. But when God starts moving and working and you hear people coming up like, man, like, that really touched me. That really hit me. It reminds you that sometimes God's plan is so intricate that we can't even begin to grasp it. And it reminds us sometimes that even our vision of ourselves is watered down compared to the vision of how God views us. And for me, there was an older lady there named Caroline, and she was a person who was counting her days down, had cancer, and she was like, you know what? No, like, I serve a big God, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to believe, and I'm going to overcome. And she beat cancer. And she sang worship and she praised. And out of all the speakers there, she was the one who hit me the hardest. And I remember walking up to her during the lunch intermission and saying, you know what? It reminded me of Elijah and Elisha. As surely as my God lives and as you live, I will follow you. And at the end of that, when Elijah tells Elisha, like, what do you want? He said, I just want a double portion of that spirit. And that's what I told her. That's what I told her. And that's one of the other things that makes me really passionate about the Fresh Fire event and wanting to continue it and wanting to help him and assist him is like, I've had people come up to me like, man, that was amazing. For some people, it was Coach JC. For some people, it was Stephen Mumpower. For me, it was this wee bit little old lady who that was her first time singing songs that she had wrote. And this is this is someone's grandma. This is her first time really speaking in front of an audience. And just knowing that when you step in a room like that, there will be somebody that God has strategically placed that has something for someone in a room. Even if it's not you, even if it's the speaker before you or the speaker after you, and on the other end, knowing that, man, if I invite someone in here, whether they're a believer or not a believer, God has somebody who's going to bless this stage, who's going to touch this stage, a vessel that he's going to use to speak to you. And that's one of the things that I really took away from that event was to everybody, like I said in the beginning, define what success is. Success is different to everybody. Some people it's $1 million. Some people it's time freedom. Some people is just spending time with their family. When you hear those speakers, man, God successfully delivered a message and different messages for each person that was in attendance. And I love that part about the way these Fresh Fire events are.
So I just wanted to ask another question about when we use the term fresh fire, what does that mean when someone comes out of an event with a fresh fire?
Right. There's so many different ways to approach that question, right? And, we can start speaking Christianese or get holy, holy, holy sometimes when answering those kind of questions. I just like to take the approach to where, anyone can hear it and say, hey, I believe in, maybe I need a fresh fire. And whether you're someone who's been going to church for 20 plus years, or you're someone who just walked into a church today, or maybe you're someone who's never been in a church, the one thing I can guarantee you about life is life happens, life is hard, life hits, there's struggles, there's trials, there's tests. And during those difficult moments inside each man and woman, I believe that we all reach a time sometimes where we get tired. We want to give up. We want to tap up. We want to tap out. We want to become dry. We become dry, very dry, sometimes emotionless, sometimes dry in our own vision. You think about children, right? Beautiful thing about children. You ask a child, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Man, you'll hear everything from the president to a marine biologist to an astronaut. When you ask people what they want to be when they're adults, the majority of people just clock into a 9 to 5 every day. The majority of people don't have vision. The majority of people don't have dreams. And one of the beautiful things about God is when we start giving our life to him, he gives us vision. He gives us these fresh visions. He gives us these fresh fires, these passions. But every vision, every goal, everything that's placed upon our hearts isn't always an overnight thing. It isn't always something that's obtainable in an instant, which is contrary to us living in a society of instant gratification, right? We want our food fast. We want to be able to hop on the fastest Wi-Fi. We want to be able to get the fastest routes when we're trying to get to a location. It doesn't work like that always sometimes when God placed these visions in our heart, or these dreams, or these passions, or these desires to serve him. And within every person, we reach these dry moments sometimes. We reach these dry moments sometimes where we need a fresh fire. We need to get fired up again. We need to get excited. We need to know, no matter how far the road is, no matter how long the road is, like, I have this fuel inside of me. I have this fire in me, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to go. And I would definitely say fresh fire is for the person who doesn't have a fresh fire yet. It's the spark. It's the birth of a fire in a dry place that excites you to go out and do more for God, to go out and tell everybody, to push towards your vision, to discover your vision, to see someone on that stage and say, man, you know what? If Travis Mitchell can come up with an app, I think I can birth this idea inside of my heart. I think I can birth this idea that God has placed upon me. If Stephen Mumpower can fly all the way from Bristol, Tennessee to California to speak at an event, why is it so far-fetched for God to use me in another state or in another country? For the person who's already had a fresh fire, and maybe they're tired, maybe the road has got hard, maybe the vision seems long, maybe they're starting to doubt, like, God, I know you've placed this in my heart. I know you've called me to do this, but I just don't know how anymore. I don't know if you picked the right guy. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe it wasn't me. That fire be renewed, that they can see, no, it wasn't a mistake. I chose you. You were the person I called. If you don't want to do it, yes, I can raise somebody else up, but I called you for a time like this. I called you for a season like this. I called you for that vision I placed in your heart. Or maybe it's a person that they have the fire. They have the fire, but they need to take it to the next level. They need to expand the vision. They're thinking too small. They're thinking with their humanly mind. They're trying their hardest to make everything happen when they need to surrender and say, man, God, pour into me. You take control of the situation. You make it happen. I'm running on my capability as a human, doing everything into the fullness of the power that I have as a human. But God, you can do far beyond me. I just need to surrender. I just need this fire to go to a next level. And to me, that's what a lot of having the fresh fire event and giving fresh fire and a fresh fire happening looks like to me.
Wow. Right on. So for people going to this event and experiencing a fresh fire, one of the questions I guess that comes to mind is anyone welcome to go? Do they have to be a Christian? Is there a certain stage in someone's walk that they should be at to attend?
No, it's definitely an event for everybody and anybody. One of the most beautiful things about Fresh Fire is, when you're looking oftentimes at the Bible, right? And you see the men that Jesus picked, he didn't pick the men that society would have said, these guys are qualified. These are the guys that you should go pick. He picked your average Joe. He picked your everyday people. And at the end of the day, for Fresh Fire, it's open for everyone. And just, again, making reference to the Bristol event that I went to, the room was so diverse. You had a real estate agent who is literally killing it in Tennessee. You had six-figure multi-level marketing earners in there. You had a person who had a lot of famous social media, Instagram people, motivational speakers on his own podcast. He's the coach. You had a wee bit little old lady. You had me coming out from California with everything I have no GED. I have no diploma. I've been incarcerated. I'm everything that society says. I know where you're going to end up. You'll be dead or you'll be in jail. And that's one of the beautiful things about God is because society deems something doesn't mean that God deems you the same way, right? And with Fresh Fire, you have such a diverse room. Even in the audience, you had everything from, people who own coffee shops to someone who owned a publishing. They do publishing for books, magazines, which is Steven's sister. You had someone who, was struggling with addiction and needed to come out of it. And you had someone who came out of prison and had a fire to be able to run men's homes and help men get rehabilitated. I started speaking in tongues on you. I'm just kidding. Rehabilitated and being able to help them out. So as far as is the doors open, man, we're welcome to anybody. If you want to come in, the venue is for everybody. There's not a person under the sun that I say this event is not for. And there's not a person under the sun that I say is not invited to this event. We believe that come as you are, come with whatever you're struggling with. The thing is too many times, right? We get in these places of trying to reach a level of perfection or fixing certain things in our life instead of just showing up in the room. Come into the room, step in the room, be exposed. Stepping into the room is one of the most powerful things that can actually happen in your life. See what God's doing in other people's lives, even if you don't believe in it. Even if you don't believe in God, come in the room, step in the room. That's okay if you don't believe in God. We're not here to challenge your belief. We're just here to show you what God has done in people's lives. We're just here to share with you what God is doing, the movement of God, the things of God, because there'll be stories of people in their testimonies that I literally know that to man, still to this day, does not make sense how their story played out. One of the girls speaking, she had cancer. We need to rush you into emergency surgery. Scheduled her appointment days later. The doctors get in there. They're like, let's run one more test and we're going to start operating. And there's nothing there. And to this day, the doctor still is like, I don't understand how this happened. It happened because of God. It happened because of a praying mother. It happened because of the woman believing that God can do something like that. And so is it open to everybody? Yeah. Even if you don't believe in God, even if maybe you do believe in God, but you've gotten a little bit far away from what you once believed, or maybe you're struggling with, I kind of believe in God, but I'm not sure what I believe. We want to invite you in. We want to have you in, and we want to welcome you in with open arms.
So, Marcus, can you share with me a little bit about the lineup of speakers that'll be at the event?
Yeah, so I'm excited about the speakers that are coming to the event. It's such a diverse group of people actually speaking. And I know it's funny, like when we first met you, you were kind of talking to us about speakers, and we're like, we don't look for speakers. God kind of brings us the people that we need or the people that should be speaking at the event. So speaker wise, I mean, we have a couple testimonies, kind of like I was sharing earlier about the girl who was cured from cancer that was supposed to go into emergency surgery. We have a gentleman who spent over 40 years in prison. We have the captain of the Salvation Army. He'll actually be speaking. He does a lot in the community of Stockton, California. He does a lot with the men in particular. He has an amazing story. He'll be speaking there. Stephen Mumpower, the mind, the heart behind Fresh Fire will be flying in from Tennessee to the event to actually be speaking. Eric Thomas, who is the #1 motivational speaker in the world, he has a ministry called APOC, A Place of Change Ministries. We got one of his guys flying out from Texas with his wife to be speaking out there. To be speaking at the event as well. We have my wife who, she does multi-level marketing full-time. She'll be actually speaking. We have Travis Mitchell. He'll actually be speaking. Super excited about that. Travis, I'll just share this with you guys really quick. Travis was one of the latest additions to our lineup. And, I'm going to give Travis a plug, right? So he actually reached out to one of the ladies, my sister and Adina, who's involved in setting this Fresh Fire event up, and said, "Hey, like, I want to help you guys. Like, I want to help promote your event." And we hopped on this Zoom with Travis, right? And he started sharing his heart with us. And here's what I do. And I'm like, this guy right here, like, he's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be speaking. And Travis, man, Travis is such a humble guy, right? He's like, "Hey, like, check it out. If you guys need recommendations on speakers, like, I got a couple people for you." And I'm like, no, like, we just need Travis Mitchell. Like, we need you to be able to speak. So Travis Mitchell would definitely be one of the speakers. We've been blessed to be able to have God bring us Travis into our life and share with us a little bit of what he's doing. So I'm super excited to hear about that. And we got a couple other people that will be sharing too. There's a Apostle and Bishop. They run, I'm going to probably butcher their nonprofit. I think it's Red Worldwide. I could be completely wrong, but they help people be able to build like trust funds and understand, different things on how to save your money, how to utilize your money. They fund nonprofits. They help people set up nonprofits, and they even invest in, I want to say, new inventions, but they'll be sharing in some of the breakout rooms and breakout sessions that we're having. So we got a phenomenal lineup of people that are actually going to be sharing at this event. So yeah, speaker wise, I'm super excited for everybody who's going to be showing up.
Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us today and just sharing about, again, Fresh Fire Weekend. There'll be a link below where you can check out the event. It's happening July 22nd, 9 a.m. And yeah, hope everyone was blessed. Thank you again, Marcus, for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.